What's going on, everyone? Today, well, I should actually say tonight, what we're going to try to get done is we have 1000cc fuel injectors for the RX-7, so we're going to be installing those, wiring them in, and we also have braided lines to install for our fuel and oil, so hopefully we can get that done tonight. We might have to do it tomorrow as well, but we'll just see how it goes, so enjoy the video. Okay, so what we're working with today, so for our primary rail and secondary rail, we're going to be running an Aeroflow fuel rail, and we're on that rail. We have, where did I put it? Alright, so found my injector. We're running 1000cc Bosch injectors. Now I have these both on the primary and secondary rails. If you're not familiar with the rotaries at all, rotaries run two different fuel rails. They run the primary rails and the secondary rails. So if you compare that to a piston engine, on a piston engine they just run one rail right along all the cylinders, whereas like I said with the rotaries they run the primary and secondaries. The secondary rail tends to have much bigger injectors on them because that secondary rail kicks in the much higher rev range, so you want to be pumping out way more fuel when you're in those higher rev ranges. So I've got my secondary rail all plugged in with the injectors, so it's just down there and it's kind of just connected into that manifold there. It's quite hard to see, I know it's shit lighting and it's a black rail, so it doesn't really help. And I've got my fuel pressure regulator there. I'm going to be taking off this manifold in a second just so I can access where the primaries go and so we can wire them in there. Alright, so it's a bit of a jungle down there. I've got a lot of excess plugs that I'm going to eventually cut off. And as you can see, it's AN fittings. So I've already put in the fitting, so I've got a 90-degree AN that goes down to a straight fitting. So we're using -6 braided lines, and here I've got a 90-degree as well that's going to the return. And down here we actually have hard lines. Now these hard lines are a different size than our braid, so these are 5/16. So what we have is an AN adapter that goes from the AN line to a hose barb. So it's probably the cheapest option for the hard lines kind of converter. I've got our upper intake manifold here, and this is a Tommy fuel pressure regulator, and obviously it's got AN fittings as well, -6 as well. So I've got to slap this whole unit on, and then we can do our feed lines. We've got a Mazda gasket. It's a metal one, so pretty durable. Goes like so. Alright, so here I have our feed line. So same sort of setup as the return, so 90-degree fitting, -6 obviously, -6 braided line, and then we've got the straight one here which goes to this adapter, AN adapter, to a hose barb fitting, and then this just slides onto our hard line down the bottom, and then I'm going to clamp it up. Pretty straightforward. Jacked up. So all I got to do now is I've got to make up a fitting that goes from the fuel pressure regulator to the secondary line, and then we're done. Well, for the fuel at least. Just like that, and now they can be tightened up. Alright guys, so a serious amount of work has gone into the car since the contents of this video. So I realized while editing it that I was missing a little bit of footage. So yeah, obviously that thing wasn't there before, and there's a few other bits and pieces that have changed. There's a few things that I changed to the fuel setup. So I shortened this line and added a plate for the fuel pressure regulator, just because with the turbo where it is, the line was sitting right on the hot side of the turbo, and that would be a huge fucking fire risk, and we don't want that here. So had to move that out the way. And I realized I didn't film anything for the oil lines for the turbo. Obviously I didn't have the turbo in at that stage, but yeah, so what the setup is, there's a dash 4 fitting coming from the front plate there, and obviously just runs to our feed. Got a 90-degree line there. It's a bit tight, but it does the trick. Is that loose? Nah, that's not loose. Actually, that is fucking loose. That needs to be tightened. Anyways, good thing I saw that. There's also a dash 10 return line, and that goes into the front plate as well. So yeah, there's going to be another video coming out for that big old thing. Anyways, this is going to be the end of the video. Thanks a lot for watching. Make sure to subscribe for more content. As you can see, a lot's been going on, so I have a lot of footage to go through and edit.